Sometimes, real-world events feel like movie scripts. Canada's boycott of U.S. products is one of those moments. It's not just politics, it's personal for millions, reshaping the bond between two close allies. This is about identity, values, and the power of the consumer. An entire nation is using its purchasing power to make a statement, shaking even the most iconic brands. In this video, we'll reveal the top 5 American brands hit hardest by this unprecedented move. We'll look beyond numbers, exploring the emotions and principles driving this change. Let's dive into what's really happening north of the border and what it means for America's most iconic names. McDonald's is woven into daily life across Canada. For decades, it was the go-to for families, students, and travelers. Now, it's at the center of a storm. The boycott didn't just dent sales, it struck at a shared cultural memory. Social media showed empty drive-thrus, and quarterly reports confirmed a sharp sales drop. McDonald's, once a symbol of comfort, became a target for those protesting American corporate influence. Local competitors like Tim Hortons and A&W simply became the patriotic choice. The contrast was stark: busy local chains beside quiet McDonald's locations. Franchisees, local business owners, were caught in the crossfire, facing empty seats and tough questions. McDonald's tried to highlight its Canadian ties, but the message fell flat. The brand became collateral damage in a larger dispute. The Golden Arches, once a symbol of reliability, now represent a fractured relationship. Kids growing up now may never see McDonald's as their first fast food memory. McDonald's can't just wait this out. They need to rethink their relationship with Canadian customers. The story of McDonald's in Canada is a cautionary tale. No brand is immune to shifting public sentiment. Even the biggest brands can fall out of favor overnight. Next up, Coca-Cola, the quintessential American brand. Coke was everywhere in Canada, from vending machines to grocery aisles. The boycott changed that almost overnight. Sales of Coke products dropped sharply, while Canadian alternatives like Canada Dry surged. Social media campaigns showed people pouring Coke down the drain, making their stance public and emotional. Coke's message of happiness and unity was replaced by images of division. The company tried to highlight its Canadian jobs and community support, but the argument didn't resonate. The problem wasn't the drink, it was the brand's American identity. Restaurants and bars dropped Coke, switching to local sodas and making headlines. Smaller Canadian beverage companies suddenly found new customers eager to support local. The boycott broke old habits. Once people switched, many didn't look back. Even institutions like universities and hospitals reconsidered their contracts with Coke. The brand began disappearing from public spaces. For Coca-Cola, the lesson is clear: even global icons can lose their fizz when national identity comes into play. The Canadian market has fundamentally changed, and Coke's challenge is to find a way back. The boycott forced Canadians to discover new favorites, and that's a habit that's hard to break. Coke's experience in Canada is a warning. Global branding has limits. The fizz is gone, and the company is left searching for its lost sparkle. In Canada, Coke is no longer the real thing. The boycott has left a lasting mark. The question now, can Coke ever regain its place in Canadian hearts? Apple, famous for fierce brand loyalty, wasn't spared. Canadians didn't just skip a burger. Many switched from iPhones to Android, a major leap. Tech forums buzzed with advice on leaving the Apple ecosystem, and sales data soon confirmed the trend. iPhone sales stalled, while Samsung and Google gained ground. The boycott wasn't just about phones. iPads, MacBooks, and Apple Watches all took a hit. Apple stores, once bustling, saw foot traffic drop. The brand's image, progressive, creative, think different, clashed with its new role as a symbol of American power. In some circles, owning an iPhone became unpatriotic. Apple's response? Silence. While others scrambled to reassure Canadians, Apple stayed quiet, fueling perceptions of indifference. The impact rippled out. Canadian app developers shifted focus to Android, hedging against a shrinking iOS user base. The halo effect was broken. Losing one device sale could mean losing a lifetime customer. Social signaling changed. Non-Apple phones became a badge of solidarity. The boycott reversed Apple's cultural capital in Canada. Even the world's most powerful tech brand isn't immune to national sentiment. Brand loyalty has limits, and for some Canadians, national identity came first. Apple remains a major player, but its aura of invincibility is gone. The boycott took a real bite out of Apple's market share and its image. The lesson? Even the strongest brands can be shaken by a wave of consumer activism. In Canada, Apple is learning that loyalty can't be taken for granted. The landscape has shifted, and Apple must adapt or risk losing a generation. The Canadian boycott proved even Apple can be unplugged. The question is, what's next for the tech giant north of the border? Walmart, synonymous with low prices and massive stores, once dominated Canadian retail. The boycott changed everything. Foot traffic plummeted, parking lots emptied. Shoppers chose Canadian-owned stores, even if it meant paying more. The result? Walmart cut hours, then closed underperforming stores, each closure fueling the boycott's momentum. Walmart's complex reputation, jobs, and affordability versus local impact made it a prime target. The boycott turned skepticism into action. Walmart's business model relies on volume. Even a small drop in customers hurt. The company tried to highlight Canadian products and employees, but the perception of Walmart as an American giant was hard to shake. Suppliers suffered too. Canadian companies relying on Walmart saw their own sales fall. Ironically, the boycott meant to help Canadian business also hurt some local suppliers. But it revived local main streets. Shoppers rediscovered butchers, bakeries, and hardware stores. Shopping local became an act of national pride. The boycott gave Canadians a sense of agency. Walmart's future in Canada is uncertain. Unchecked expansion is over. Now, the company must prove its value beyond low prices. Empty stores are a stark reminder. Even giants depend on public trust. When that trust breaks, the consequences are severe. The boycott showed that the social contract between retailer and customer matters. Walmart is learning that lesson the hard way. The Canadian market has changed, and so must Walmart. The era of easy dominance is over. Nike, built on performance and aspiration, seemed untouchable. The boycott proved otherwise. Sporting goods stores saw Nike sales drop as customers asked for Adidas, Puma, or Canadian brands like Lululemon. Nike gear hit the clearance racks, devaluing the brand. The swoosh, once a symbol of winning, became associated with losing market share and face. Nike's bold marketing and "Just Do It" slogan were turned against them. Canadians were just doing it by not buying. Sneakerheads cooled on Nike. Limited editions lingered on shelves. Tastemakers moved on, risking a broader loss of mainstream appeal. Canadian brands surged. Lululemon became the patriotic choice, and smaller companies gained new fans. Nike's deep ties to Canadian sports couldn't overcome its American image. The boycott's long-term damage is about perception. For young Canadians, Nike's story is now about rejection, not aspiration. At Nike HQ, the message is clear. Globalization cuts both ways. National identity can become a liability. Nike's race in Canada became a race to the bottom. The brand that taught the world to just do it was told, just don't. Even the coolest brands can stumble when national pride is at stake. The swoosh is still there, but it's bruised. Nike must rethink its approach or risk losing a generation of Canadian customers. The boycott is a wake-up call. No brand is safe from consumer activism. In Canada, Nike's victory lap is over. The challenge now is to rebuild trust and relevance. The Canadian market has changed, and Nike must change with it. The lesson: even giants can fall. McDonald's, CocaCola, Apple, Walmart, Nike. 5 American titans, all facing a new reality in Canada. This boycott is more than a sales dip. It's a fundamental shift in how Canadians see these brands. Local businesses are thriving, and consumers feel empowered. In today's world, business is never just business. It's about culture, politics, and identity. The US-Canada relationship may heal, but brand loyalty is harder to rebuild. The Canadian consumer's voice now echoes globally. What do you think? Have you seen other brands affected? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching.